Some songs arrive right on time. Others take years to be understood. Tonight, we're remembering 10 R&B songs from the 1960s that missed their moment at first, only to become timeless later on. These weren't instant hits. They were slow burns that found their way into hearts when the world finally caught up. Back then, music traveled differently, through word of mouth, late-night radio, a cousin's record collection, and sometimes a song you barely noticed at first came back years later and stayed for good. These records didn't explode. They lingered, and when they finally connected, they felt personal, like a secret you were glad the world discovered. And the final song on this list? It took years, a second life, and one unforgettable moment to be fully heard. Let's begin with number 10. Number 10, It's Alright by The Impressions.
It's alright, have a good.
At first, it didn't move the needle. Released in 1963, It's Alright was modest, smooth, hopeful, and carried on a breeze. It wasn't flashy, it didn't shout. And in a year when Motown was sharpening its edges and the charts were full of powerhouse vocals, this one barely rippled. But time has a way of catching quiet brilliance. The track rode the gospel-soaked harmonies of The Impressions like a gentle wave.
Feeling sad like so many of us do.
Curtis Mayfield's voice, feather-light but full of quiet power, didn't demand attention. It offered reassurance. "You gotta believe in something," he sang. "Why not believe in me?" That line lingered. Radio stations passed on it early. Record stores stocked it lightly. But community dances, church picnics, and late-night DJs with a soft spot kept it alive. And within a year, it caught on. Slowly, then all at once.
Someday I'll find me a woman who will.
By the end of 1964, it was climbing R&B charts and finding new life on the airwaves, a balm for listeners who just wanted to feel all right. It became the song you put on at the end of a long day, not to dance, not to cry, but to exhale. Sometimes, the songs that stay with us the longest are the ones that whispered instead of shouted. Number 9, A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
Change gon' come. Oh, yes it will.
Hard to believe now, but when this masterpiece was first released in late 1964, it was tucked away quietly on the B-side of Shake. The label didn't push it. Some radio stations didn't even play it. And in its time, it almost passed unnoticed. But Sam Cooke had poured his soul into this one. Inspired by personal experiences and the civil rights struggle that was rising around him, he wrote it with a depth and gravity rare in pop music of the day.
I was born by the river.
This wasn't a love song. It was a prayer, a weary whisper from a man carrying both promise and pain. I was born by the river. That line didn't need polish, just a voice. Sam's voice, full of tremble and truth. Musically, it was lush and cinematic. Strings swelled like rising tides. Each verse was a chapter of hardship and hope, wrapped in the weight of generations. But RCA didn't know what to do with it. Too political, too slow, too heavy for jukeboxes. And yet, like all truths, it refused to stay buried.
I go to the movie.
Over time, A Change Is Gonna Come became an anthem. Played at marches, echoed in speeches, covered again and again, but never replaced. It was never a commercial hit, but it became something far greater. A song that gave people courage to believe tomorrow might be different. Some records don't need to chart, they just need to last. Number 8, The Dark End of the Street by James Carr.
Please don't cry.
When this song was first released in 1907, it didn't crack wide open. It sat quietly in jukeboxes, tucked between louder, faster records. Most didn't know what to make of it. Too slow for the dance floor, too raw for easy radio play, and far too honest for comfort. But those who heard it remembered. The song unfolds like a whispered confession, a secret kept in the backseat of a car under the cover of night.
That's where we always meet.
It's about love, forbidden, dangerous, impossible. And James Carr doesn't just sing it, he aches it. That first line, at the dark end of the street, that's where we always meet, feels like a door unlocking to something we're not supposed to see. Carr's voice trembles with restraint, barely holding back. There's no flash here, no soaring strings or clever tricks. Just a man standing in the middle of his guilt and longing, too tired to lie to himself anymore.
To the dark end of the street.
The recording session, they say, nearly broke him. He sang it in one take, and when he finished, the room fell silent. It didn't top the charts, but it never left. And decades later, it's in movies, covered by giants, and known by anyone who's ever loved someone they couldn't have. Some songs don't fade, they haunt. Number 7, I Want to Do Everything for You by Joe Tex.
Turn you loose. I want to do little things for you till you say.
In 1965, Joe Tex had a string of near misses, songs that stirred the pot but didn't quite bubble over. I Want to Do Everything for You was another one at first. It came out swinging with rhythm and swagger, but somehow it didn't catch the air like it should have. Too smooth for a barn burner, too playful for a heartbreak song. Radio didn't quite know where to put it.
I said enough. I want to stand right by your side window.
But out in the real world, in pool halls, corner bars, and backyard cookouts, the song found its legs. And when it did, it didn't walk, it danced. Joe Tex had a preacher's cadence and a joker's smile. His delivery here felt like a love letter wrapped in street talk, full of warmth and promise. No frills, just feeling. You don't have to worry, darling. I'll do everything for you. There's a moment in the track, just a short break, where he almost chuckles between verses. It's subtle, but it says, I mean it, and I know you know I do.
Look your best. I want to take you everywhere so the world can.
Over time, it became his first #1 R&B hit. A slow starter that turned into a wedding favorite, a neighborhood anthem, a song folks played when they wanted to show someone they cared without getting too mushy. Not every hit bursts through the door. Some knock gently and get welcomed in for life. Number 6, Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding.
Tell it like it is.
When Otis Redding first recorded this in mics, it wasn't new. The song had been around since the 1930s, a soft ballad crooned by Bing Crosby and sung sweetly by countless others. It had the kind of polite, careful charm you'd hear in a supper club. But Otis didn't sing it that way. He transformed it. At first, some listeners didn't know what to make of it. It began soft, almost reverent, a man urging gentleness. But then, like a storm gathering in slow motion, the tempo builds.
And I'm not a little boy.
His voice rises, and suddenly, you're not in a supper club anymore. You're in the middle of a fire. By the time he growls, you gotta hold her, squeeze her. It's not a cover anymore. It's something brand new. Still, it wasn't an instant hit. Some stations didn't play it. Some critics called it too raw, too emotional. But the people felt it. Live, it became a showstopper. Redding would fall to his knees, wring the sweat from every note, and bring crowds to their feet, and sometimes to tears. Years later, it found new life in films and tributes, and in the hearts of every man who ever needed help saying what he felt but couldn't quite find the words for.
Girl, you know that I'm weak. Tell it like
It didn't chart the way it should have in its time, but it never left us. Some songs don't peak, they just keep rising in the memory. If this is bringing back memories, if you've nodded quietly even once, consider subscribing. It helps keep these voices and these stories alive for everyone who remembers how it felt the first time. Number 5, Tell It Like It Is by Aaron Neville. When Aaron Neville stepped up to the mic in 1966, he wasn't a household name. He was a gentle soul from New Orleans with a trembling tenor and a heart full of quiet truth. Tell It Like It Is wasn't backed by a major label. It was recorded on a tiny budget and released on a small label with limited reach. Most stations didn't touch it at first. It was just too different.
Them young girls, they do get weary.
But listen close and you'll hear why it couldn't be ignored for long. The song is a slow pour. No flash, no tricks, just longing. Neville's voice floats, fragile but fearless. It cracks at just the right places. It begs without pleading. And when he sings, if you want something to play with, go and find yourself a toy. You feel the ache behind the smile. That line alone turned heads. Women paused at their vanities. Men leaned forward in parked cars. The honesty was too sharp to ignore.
Wow, she's there waiting. And without them,
Slowly, the record spread from jukebox to jukebox, radio to radio. And despite its modest beginnings, it rose to number 1 on the R&B charts and stayed there for 5 weeks. Neville didn't shout it. He didn't dress it up. He just told it like it was. And in doing so, he gave voice to a kind of quiet heartbreak we don't always know how to say out loud. Some voices don't break through with volume. They break through with truth. Number 4, Take Me for a Little While by Evie Sand.
I've been trying to.
You might not know her name right away. And that's part of the story. In 1965, Evie Sands recorded a song that should have taken off. Take Me for a Little While had all the ingredients: aching vocals, dramatic arrangement, and a bittersweet melody that held on like a memory. But what happened next was one of the music industry's crueler twists. Before her version even hit the shelves, a bootleg copy was rushed out by another artist.
So I can make you want me.
It was released faster, with wider distribution. And just like that, Evie's voice was pushed to the background. She watched as someone else climbed the charts with her song, her moment. But the thing about real soul is that it finds its way back. Years later, her version re-emerged, played on late-night radio, shared by collectors, and cherished by artists who knew the truth. And when you hear her sing it, really hear it, there's a tension, a tenderness, a plea that no other version touches. There's one note, right before the chorus, where her voice catches like a breath being held.
So I can hold you, baby.
And you know, this isn't performance, it's feeling. She never got the fame, but she got something maybe deeper. The quiet respect of those who knew what was stolen. Not every hit wears a crown. Some wear scars and sing anyway. Number 3, Cry Baby by Garnet Mims Boone and the Enchanters.
Welcome back home.
Long before Janis Joplin made it famous, Cry Baby belonged to Garnet Mims. Released in 1963, it had everything: a soaring vocal, a gospel-tinged arrangement, and an emotional punch that didn't ask for permission. But it didn't become a household name. Not then. The record found some chart success, but it didn't get the long spotlight it deserved.
drag you home.
Mim's voice, aching, pleading, full of fire, was just too intense for some radio formats. Too real. He wasn't crooning heartbreak. He was breaking right in front of you. Cry Baby was a confession shouted into the wind, an anthem for anyone who had begged someone to come back and meant it every desperate word. The way the backup singers echo him, Cry Baby, feels like a church choir behind a man losing his footing. It's not just a love song, it's a reckoning. Years later, Janis Joplin's version gave it a second life. She respected the original. She didn't copy it. She honored it. But Mim's version still sits quietly behind hers, raw and waiting, like the first heartbreak you never forgot. Some songs get famous twice, once for their pain and once for how someone else finally heard it. Number 2, You Don't Miss Your Water by William Bell.
In the beginning.
In 1961, this song barely made a ripple. Released on Stax Records, still young and raw at the time, William Bell's You Don't Miss Your Water was too slow for the dance crowd, too sad for the radio's happy hour. But oh, what it carried. Bell was barely out of his teens when he wrote it, and you can hear it. Not in immaturity, but in that kind of heartbreak that only strikes once, when you're still learning just how deep missing someone can go. The song opens soft, a few piano notes, and then Bell's voice, gentle and worn. He doesn't cry out, he reflects. The line, I didn't know what I had until you were gone, isn't just a lyric. It's a truth most folks learn the hard way. And while it wasn't a hit when it first dropped, it refused to fade.
How can this be?
Otis Redding sang it later. So did the Byrds. Brian Eno even. Each time, it echoed wider. But William Bell's version, his original, still feels like a man sitting alone in a dark room, telling the truth no one else wanted to say. Sometimes it takes time for the world to catch up to the heart of a quiet song. The ones that feel too personal at first often turn out to be the most universal. Number 1, Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers.
And all we came up was, well, we had the Hatleys and the Medfields, and that didn't.
It's almost impossible now to imagine this song as anything but legendary. But when it was first released in 1965, it wasn't even meant to be a single. In fact, it was the B-side. The B-side. The label didn't plan to promote it. It was tucked behind another track, almost as filler. And Bill Medley, the usual lead, didn't even sing this one.
Can do so much.
That haunting, aching vocal, that was Bobby Hatfield, alone in the booth, and what he delivered was unforgettable. The moment the piano starts, slow and sparse, you feel the room shift, then that voice rising like a ghost through smoke. Oh, my love. He doesn't rush it. He lets the longing hang there, like someone standing by a phone that isn't ringing. At first, it barely charted. Some DJs flipped the record out of curiosity. Others found it late. But then it caught, not through the label's push, but through sheer emotional force. It made people stop and listen.
And time go.
And remember who they were missing. Years later, it would rise again through film, cementing its place in love stories everywhere. But even without that second wave, it was always a masterpiece. A song that flopped twice and still became eternal. Some songs don't wait to be recognized. They just wait for the right moment to be felt. What ties these songs together isn't just the sound, it's the patience, the quiet faith that feeling, real feeling finds its way, even if it takes years. These weren't hits at first, but they stayed. They traveled, and they found their place in your car, in your living room, in your memory. Thank you for remembering with us. If this brought you back, if it made you feel something you hadn't felt in a while, you're not alone. Subscribing helps keep these stories alive for everyone who still listens with their heart. And if you're not quite ready to leave this moment, our next list is just a step away. Another chapter, another memory. Watch 10 greatest R&B bands you've never heard of, hidden gems from 1960s, the ones that hit the heart the first time and never left.